Hey guys, today we're going to be doing a 2016 Ford F350 Turbo. We're going to be doing the install on the Turbo. Unfortunately, I won't have a video on the process of us taking the Turbo out, but it is an install video. So if you need to install a Turbo on a 2016, I believe the years are from 2011 all the way up to 2024. This will help you if you're installing a Turbo. So I hope the video helps. If you do like it, please like and subscribe, and everybody have a great day. Bye bye. These are all your main parts that you take off during this process. And I'll try and go in as best I can by memory on order, but it has been a minute since I pulled it out because the guy had to go get it rebuilt again. This is like the third time, so I guess third time's a charm. So anyways, so it's been a while since I've been out here, so we'll try and do this as orderly as possible. So the first thing you want to do is you're going to want to clean this area off right here real good, and you want your new gasket to go right there for your Turbo. So that's the first thing you want to do, is make sure this area is clean and make sure the Turbo's clean on the bottom of the Turbo. Alright guys, first thing we're going to do is this gasket here. I'm going to put this gasket on, and right down in here, put the gasket on. It only fits one way. You'll see it fits through holes, these holes right here. It's going to fit like that. Anyway, that's what you're going to do. Put that gasket on first. Okay, once you get your gasket set in there, we got the gasket set in there right now. We're going to set our Turbo inside there. So we'll be doing that next. We're going to set the Turbo inside there. Remember to grease your Turbo, oil your Turbo first before you set it in there. We already did ours. You'll drop some oil in the top with this off, and you'll just spin the turbine inside as you're dropping oil inside here, so you can get the bearing nice and oiled. And that's how you'll do that. So we're going to set the Turbo in there. I'm probably going to set the camera up because I need both hands to do this. So it's going to look a little weird, but I'm going to have it setting up like this. Just like that. And hopefully y'all get to see at least some of it. You just have to work it in slowly. We're in. We are in. So once you get the Turbo in like that, you got your bolts here. There's one in the back corner in the back, and one in the back corner back there. You're gonna put those bolts. You just have to work them in. You'll need to use a 13mm wobble, 3/8 drive, and you'll be able to get to all of them. You should be able to. Those are your bolts for your Turbo. You'll have 4 of them. They got 13mm heads. Alright guys, here's my 13 right here. I usually get a wobble and I put some tape on it like that, and that way I can bend it, it can wobble, but it doesn't, like, it's more stiffer. So that seems to help. We're gonna try and put our bolts down in first. You can't really see that. I'll try and get some finished shots of it so you can at least see where I'm doing it. But you'll get you a magnet, and you're gonna work each bolt down into the hole like that, especially the back bolts there, because they're really hard to get to. So that's what I'm gonna do. You're not gonna be able to see it, but you get the idea. You get the idea of what's going on. All right, guys, so see the bolt there? You won't have one bolt right there, and then can you see back there, right behind in there is, you'll get a magnet, and it's right behind, right in here is where you're gonna go, and you'll be able to get that bolt in. You really can't see it, but it's right behind there. You can kind of see it right there. And then the other one is right here. You can see it, I think. So that bolt is right back there. Let's go. There it is right there. So you'll get that last bolt back there. You're going to use a wobble, and I suggest a 3/8 ratchet, and tighten them up. Alright folks, we got our bolts tightened down, our gasket in there. Don't forget to oil your bearing in your turbine here. But next I'm going to show you what we're going to do next. We are going to go to the back of the engine like so. We're going to hook that pipe up there, right up in there. I'm going to try and set up something where you could see, but the gasket, the clamp is going to go right there around that small pipe there. We're going to get that first. Then the second one, we're going to do our down pipe, and I'll show you how that goes. But we're going to put the little clamp down there on the bottom first, and you want that clamp facing outward. You want the clamp facing outward, if I remember correctly. Yeah, towards the driver's side. You want that clamp facing towards the driver's side. So I'll show you it afterwards, that way you can see. But that's what we're doing next. Now I hope y'all can see this bullshit, because I can't see nothing. Don't mess with that little anything down there. I got it videotaping. I just don't know if they can see it. Dang. Ah. Alright, well that's how you want it. But I gotta get it still, you see I gotta get the clamp on. I'll show you once I get it all the way on what it looks like. Alright. Alright guys, you see how it's facing that way towards the driver? That's the way you want it, so it doesn't interfere with your downpipe when we install it next. Alright, this is what's going on next. You're going to hook this up to the back of the turbo there. This bolt right here is where you're going to put this bolt in. You're going to leave it loose until you get it all buckled down, or until you get this clamp on. But this bolt right here goes right here, right in there, if you can't see it. Once I get done, you see that little mark where that bolt is right up top? Once I get it in, you'll be able to see it, but you'll put that bolt in there so it holds it to there, and you'll leave it loose until you get the clamp on it. So that's how you do that. So you'll need this, the bolt, and the clamp next.
Shot him in the head.
Alright guys, what you're going to do is you're going to put that bolt in so it holds it down. So usually this is 2 people. You're going to have somebody holding it down here and putting that bolt in while the other person holds the pipe steady towards the turbo. And then that way you get that bolt in right there. You see that bolt that's holding it. Once you do that, then you want to put that clamp on. You see how I got the clamp, and you want the bolt facing straight up. So I got that on right. I'm going to tighten that down, tighten that hold down bolt, and that will be done. Alright, next you're going to install this down pipe. You're going to need this stud here for the lineup, and the nut that holds it in once you get it on. You're going to shove this pipe up in there until it lines up with this hole right here on this part. And at that point, you'll work this stud in there. And then once you do that, you'll put your 2 bolts in on the bottom side, and you'll tighten that. That's a 15 millimeter bolt nut right there that you're going to tighten. And I'll show you what it looks like once it's done. Alright guys, here's our down pipe. See how that's lined up there? I always take it fully out because it's so much easier going in. There's our clamp up there. It's tight. It's a 15 millimeter. You get that tight, everything lines up, and then underneath here you got your studs, or your bolts here right there. Those are tight. And so our down pipe is complete. We're done underneath for now, and we will start up on the top. Next is another pipe. I believe the next pipe we're going to do is this pipe right here. So this is the pipe we're going to be installing next. Alright guys, this is the stuff you're going to need for our next step. So you're going to need your gasket here, your clamp for the other side, for this side, and your 3 nuts that hold it in. These are going to be 13 millimeter heads on the nuts, and of course not 7/16 or 11 millimeter for your clamp. Make sure you get your gasket on before you put the pipe on, and it's going to go down towards the left here, right there, and right there. It's going to be connecting here on the clamp side, and right here it's going to go right down over those studs right there on this side. So I'll show you what it looks like once we're done. Alright guys, we got that pipe in here, right here. There she is. The clamp is tight. I got it facing towards the firewall, but you can really, if you want to, you can face it this way. It'd be a lot easier. But then I got my 3 bolts tight right down, or my nuts, 3 nuts tight down right there. Those are all tight. Everything's tight. I got my wire. There's my exhaust back pressure sensor right there. Here's the temp sensor right here for the harness. We'll see that later on down the line. So our next step is going to be our lower intake. So here's our lower intake right here. We're gonna put this big bad sucker in right here. You're gonna need 10 millimeter. You're gonna need a 10 millimeter socket and ratchet to put this in. We're gonna put this in next. All right, guys, we got our lower intake installed. You got a 10 millimeter bolt here, here, and here, and you have an 8 millimeter here. You're gonna tighten down for your clamp. And next we're going to put this heat shield back on this turbo before we get too deep into it. I should have put it on before we put the lower intake. So you're going to need this cover, and you're going to need 3 bolts. They're all Torx. They look like this. And you're going to put these on for that heat shield. All right guys, let me show you. I got the lower intake installed. We got our heat shield is installed. You got 3 bolts, 1, 2, and 3 right there. And then when you do this, when you're taking it apart, if you will get you a bungee cord to hold your water line here, you don't have to disconnect the other side. I just hooked it in right there, and there's your water pipe right here. You're gonna install that right there, and you're gonna have a hold down bolt. I'll probably put some STP on it, but we're gonna push it down in there, and we'll have a bolt that holds that down right here. This one right here, you'll use to hold it down. All right, once you get that on, you're gonna, that pipe I showed you right there, there's the hold down right there. It's an 8mm bolt, and that's for your water line. That goes through to right there, but it's already hooked up there. So what I do, I get a bungee cord and I tie it this way. That way it's out of the way. You don't have to completely take it out. So next is, we're gonna do our water pipe next. It goes in right down here under here, and it's gonna come out and stick straight up like this. So we're gonna put that in next, and then we're gonna do our exhaust pipe here, and then we're gonna do our exhaust pipe here. All right, on this black pipe here, we got it installed. It's sticking straight up here. It's your water pipe that goes into your lower intake, and you'll have an 8mm bolt holding it on right there. And what you'll need to do is leave it loose for now until you get that intake on, so you can move it. Because when we put that upper intake on, you need this to kind of move a little bit because it gets in the way. So then we'll tighten that 8 once we get the upper intake in. All right, so we put the exhaust pipes in. You're gonna put this big one here in, and you have 2 bolts. These are the non-magnetic bolts. That's what I call them, because they're not magnetized. And you have 2 on this one, 2 on that one right there, and then you have 2 down here on that. And you have the 1 hold down bolt that you put on. So we got all that. We still have this loose because I'm about to put the upper intake in, and we need it loose for when we put the upper intake in. So that's where we're going next. You're gonna put your upper intake in next, and I'll show you what it looks like once. All right guys, we got the upper intake installed. You have all your 8mm head bolts on the top here. You have some 8 back there. Then you have you're gonna need a deep 8 for right here on that one. And on this one, you're gonna need a 12mm for that one. That's the only one that's an oddball. And that goes on this dipstick here, right there like that. And I got the dipstick on, and you're gonna have 2 8mm head bolts that go right there to hold your dipstick steady, and 1 nut that goes right there, 10mm head, that holds that down right there. So we'll get that done, and then we'll move on to the next step. All right, we hooked our hose up. It's quick connect here, and then down here on that pipe that I was showing you earlier, and then there's going to be a hose that hooks up right here. So next we are going to put this pipe in right here. It's your turbo pressure pipe right here, and you will need a 10mm. Well, it depends. If you have the old school one, you'll probably need 11mm, but these are 10mm because it's aftermarket, and it's quick snap in on here, on this side right here. So snap in, and then you'll need to tighten this in with it. Mine is a 10mm head. Yours could be 11, just so you know, or a 7/16. All right, we got it installed. It's snapped in there. You have an electrical connector right there. There's an electrical connector right there, and then your stud is right straight down there. There's your stud, and mine happens to be 10mm, and so that's in. That pipe's in. We're gonna go to the air filter housing next, and we're gonna put the air filter housing in, and I'll show you how that's done once I get done, okay? All right, guys, we got everything back in. We got our pipe back on here, and we got the plate, quick connect pipe connected there on the lower intake. Got our pipe here, charge pipe. Got our air filter housing in. Turbos, everything's tight. Exhaust back pressure sensor's plugged up. So we'll be ready to test drive this. We got to put the wheel on first. We also added our water, which is already getting low. Put our oil back in. This all came out, so I'm putting it all back in. Anyways, I hope y'all enjoyed this video. I hope it helped you. If you need to take the turbo out, you can reverse this process. I'm super sorry I wasn't able to do that, but I had already had it taken off by the time I got my new camera. I just got this camera, so sorry about that, y'all. But if you need to install it, this is a good video for an install. I did everything real slow, piece by piece, step by step, you know. We gotta put our wheel on, but our down pipe, there's our down pipe and everything. We'll put the wheel well in next, which you'll have to do on your last step, which I don't think you'll need a video on how to put your wheel well back in, but put that back in, and then I put the tire back on, and that will be it. Everybody have a good day. If you like this video, please like it, and please subscribe. I really appreciate it. I'm a small channel, trying to grow it, so please like and share and subscribe. I appreciate y'all. Have a good one.